Hey everybody, it's McAllister here today. I recently saw a thread on the GL1800riders.com forum where someone asked what are the top must-have items from Traxxion Dynamics, and it's interesting. We've been making lots of products aside from our suspension products for the 2018 plus Goldwing for 8 years now, and basically every time somebody complained about something that was something that with our machinery and our experience that we could develop, I tried to make something. So I believe a lot of people, the videos have gone on for so many years that I don't think anybody's ever seen them kind of all in one place, and probably a lot of people don't even know about half the stuff we make. So I'm going to try and jam it all quickly. So I'm going to talk fast, move fast as best I can and show you pretty much everything that we make to accessorize your Honda Goldwing. And I'll try and say, hey, this is something I really encourage you to get, or this is just a luxury, and let you know from there. So starting, let's see. One of the very first things that I do consider to be a must-have is our kickstand pad. This enlarges the foot of your kickstand and prevents your bike from sinking into pavement or soft ground, pavement on a hot day. It's designed to specifically look like a wing and fit into the style and lines of the bike, just like Honda put it there. There's some horrible, ugly ones out on the market that went forever on the old previous generation Goldwing. I couldn't stand to picture another 10 years of looking at a glob of crap on the side of a bike, so I made something nice. So that kickstand pad is one. That's 40 bucks-ish. This is a battery terminal extender. This is a brass bolt, nut, and washer. It fits up in here. Your positive battery terminal on your battery, should you ever need to jump off your bike, is virtually impossible to clip any type of cable or clip onto, and whereas you can easily grab the ground with any clip, but this is impossible. So this extended terminal allows you to easily grab a clip on there. This is, I think, $11 or something. And if you think that's expensive, go try and find that brass bolt, that nut, and that washer for less than $11. Another very popular item, our dipstick extender. This is $23-ish. If you've ever tried to get your dipstick out, particularly you're supposed to check your engine, your oil while your engine is warm. If your engine's hot, you can barely get your thumbs onto the little tiny blade that's next to the engine. It's very hard to turn. There's no space. So we make this extender that puts a great big easy to access knob on your dipstick. No burn in your hands. It's CNC machined from Delrin, so it doesn't get hot and won't burn you. And it makes it very easy, even if you have large hands and large fingers, to check your oil. People complain they can't find the horn button in the dark because it's not backlit. We have a set of glow-in-the-dark horn buttons here. So it just simply is an adhesive decal, charges up at any time while it's sitting in the daylight, and when you're riding at night, you'll be able to find your horn button. It'll glow bright green, easy to see in the dark. We sell those. It's like 10 bucks because I can't actually process paperwork and mail you something for less than 10 bucks. I think I give you 4 of them so you can give one to one of your friends if you want to. Our super seat bolt kit. Basically, this replaces 3 pieces come from Honda. There is a bolt, a washer, and a collar that slides through the plastic seat. The odds are, by the time you take your bolts out of your seat the very first time, you will already have parts missing, because the Honda dealer mechanics will frequently drop them in the bike while they're trying to put the bike together, and they won't even be there. So you won't even know they're supposed to be there. But past that, they're a real pain in the ass. When you're putting the seat down, the collar likes to get caught, and the collar likes to pop out and drop into the bike. When you're trying to pull the bolt out, the washer drops into the bike. We simply combined all 3 of those parts into one single bolt, and it makes it impossible to drop them in the bike. These are steel. In case you do drop it, you can get it with a magnet. Early on, I normally make things out of stainless steel, so but if you did drop the bike, you couldn't pick the bolts up with a magnet. So these are specifically made from steel for that reason. I'll warn you, there was some show chrome bolts that people used to use on the old Goldwing. They had a point with it. The point was designed to help make it easier to start the bolt in the hole. That point will go through the bracket on this and start jabbing a hole in your gas tank on your 2018 plus Goldwing Do not buy the show chrome bolts. Bad idea. Back here, if your bike battery and such ever dies and you have to get into your bike, there's a process of using the key that's in the fob of your bike. You pop the key out, you pull a cover off back here, there's a key lock. You twist the key, the left saddlebag opens, you pull a cable here, the right saddlebag opens, you pull a cable there, and the trunk opens. The problem is, to get this cover off on the bike, unless you have a screwdriver or a knife with you, there is no way for a human being to pull this cover off without a tool, okay? And so to make that, so you're already going to be mad when you can't get the cover off. So I just made this tab. It just simply screws onto the cover. It makes it simple for any human, even if you're freezing cold or burning hot and mad at your bike, to reach up in there, pop that off, and expose the key slot to stick your key in. And that's, I think, $12 or $13. Rear fender accessory mount. By the way, that's something I feel like everybody should have on their bike, that emergency key assistance tab. This is not a necessity, but this is for people that are mounting rear view cameras or blind spot detection systems that require a level mounting surface. And so this gives you a nice secure surface and a way that you can easily poke a little hole in the fender and send a wire up without having to screw holes into your painted plastic parts. So I think this is $50. It comes with adhesive primer in it and a super strong 3M VHB adhesive. Blends in, looks like Honda put it there, and makes that a nice place to do that stuff. If you do work on your own bike, if you ever have to do brake service, when you go to pull out these two brake bolts on the brake lines, the factory bolts are cheap steel with a shallow Allen pocket, and they are guaranteed almost 100% to round out the very first time you try and remove them from the bike. The only way to safely be certain you can get them out is to use a hand impact driver and smack them with a hand impact driver and hit it with a hammer to get that out. When you get those bolts out, throw them in the trash and never use them again. We sell a little kit with normal stainless steel Allen bolts with a nice deep pocket that will not strip or round out. And I think that's $7 or something. Again, very inexpensive. Not so much a problem. Here, I'll talk about a group of little products here. The steering safety pin. So early on, there was people having trouble with Goldwings, particularly 2018 models when they first came out. Honda had used the original torque spec on the steering, on the would be your normal steering crown nut here on a normal conventional fork motorcycle. On this nut, on your Goldwing 2018 Plus, you actually have a set of remote controls. So instead of them being actually turning forks, you've got tie rods moving a yoke out on the front of the bike. But there is still a steering spindle that the handlebars pivot on. Honda made that out of aluminum to save weight, but they were applying the steel nut torque to it, and so it would crush and damage the threads. The crown nut would come loose, the handlebars would start flapping on the bike. But then that led us to learn about another possibility of a weakness in the bike, and that's trying to tow this one by the handlebars. So it's not recommended to tow it by the handlebars. Almost everybody buys these Gold Strike tie-down hooks and puts them on the bike. That's not our product, but I consider that a must-have for every Goldwing. In fact, a lot of Honda dealers just put them on in the showroom. That's how important, so that you can trailer your bike home. But that did lead us to see where we saw some broken steering spindle, cracked steering spindles. So the issue is, if that steering spindle were to ever crack, and I've never heard of it actually, I've seen it happen, but not while somebody was driving physically down the road. But I've had two bikes here where the owners had them on trailers and they broke. So I came up with a safety pin, fits down in the bore of the spindle. This has both United States utility and design patents on it. So this is a simple product. It's $25-ish. And it's a very simple procedure to stand the console on your bike up. And there's a plastic decorative cover over your handlebars. There's 2 screws. You just slide this down in the hole. You could actually, so if you, the problem is, if you ever tip your bike over and you bang the handlebars, you actually can crack and damage that steering spindle. So this is just cheap insurance no matter where you are. There's a video on my YouTube channel of me actually driving a Goldwing with a broken steering spindle. We push this pin down in it. I get it off the trailer and drive it into the shop so I can work on it. So this is, you know, 1 in a billion chance you'll need it, but it's like wearing a helmet. You put it on your head for the worst possible case. But that also led us to come up with a product to not have an aluminum spindle on the bike, which if you go try and twist your bars, you can actually feel a lot of flex. That's that steering spindle flexing, the aluminum spindle. We make that spindle out of solid stainless steel with the bore in it, with our pin. We sell that as a kit for, I think, $160. And then one other thing, while you're in there, if you're ever in there around that crown nut, we sell a different crown nut, another Honda crown nut. The one they put on the bike, again, I guess they're trying to save weight, is very thin. It's only about 3 or 4 threads, and with a washer on it. And the one that came on the previous generation bike is better. So we fit that with some special locking adhesive inside of it. It's about 8 threads tall and has a built-in flange on it, more surface area. So you replace that crown nut with this nut, and it's one of those thing you'll do once and never worry about it again the rest of your life. One of our must-have items is our tie rod. So by the time your bike has 5,000 miles on it, your tie rod will be sloppy. You can't argue it. You'll see people on the internet, no, my bike's fine. Your bike isn't fine. You're just not paying any attention. So the factory tie rod has cheap nylon-lined balls in the end of it, and those balls just get sloppy. So it's easy to check it. You can turn your wheel to one side with your hand, put your foot against your front tire like this, so that you're holding it against the steering stop, and then just grab the end of the handlebar, and you'll be able to go clunk, 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 clunk. All that slop in the steering just makes your bike, you know, lazy and unreactive. And so our tie rod replaces the factory tie rod. This will never wear out. I guarantee it for life. If you ever have problems, just contact me. But we don't really replace these. We probably replaced 2 in 6 years or something. So this is, we actually even changed the design midway through. This one's completely, totally bomb-proof, and this is made 100% in-house here at Traxxion. So this just makes the steering no slop at all, 0. It's that's a one and done, once in a lifetime upgrade product. Along that same line, there is without going too far down the rabbit hole, the left rear side of the left rear tie rod, you can grab it with your hand and just flop it around on the bike. It's in a flimsy rubber bushing. Just so you understand this, no matter what anybody tells you, the right tie rod is controlling your bike. The left one is there for an emergency. Should your right tie rod ever fall off or break, which it's not going to do, but if it should, you would have no control of the motorcycle whatsoever, and you would start going straight and crash into whatever happened with no control. So Honda has a backup tie rod on the bike, but they have a floppy bushing on it. The floppy bushing isn't necessary. People have all kinds of, engineering rabbit hole nonsense they talk about where it has to be that way or the tie rods will wear each other out. Absolutely no truth to that at all. As long as they're both mounted neutrally and adjusted equally, then the one's never fighting the other. The whole system works that way. But we sell a stainless steel bushing to replace the floppy rubber bushing. And that makes it so your right tie rod could fall off and you could drive. Now either tie rod can run the bike. You can drive 100,000 miles with no right tie rod on the bike, and it'll work just fine. So on that one worst occasion, if you do had some sort of tie rod problem with your right tie rod, the left one would be as good as the right. So do you need that? You don't. That's if you're a belt and suspenders kind of person, that's a product you would do. Very popular thing to do. Anyone 6 foot tall and shorter, the handlebars coming back on the bike is an instant increase in comfort. Everyone likes it. A company called Healy Bars makes a riser kit that relocates the handlebars back. I made a product that replaces the entire steering top bridge. This relocates the handlebars back into a more neutral and comfort position. Has a solid mount for the left rear tie rod. So this is killing two birds in one stone. This is relocating your handlebars for comfort and eliminating the floppy tie rod bushing. And this part is a solid billet. So again, it's more structurally rigid, just a tighter, less flexible part than the stock cast pot metal top bridge. If you have bought Healy bar risers and want to, we have a little dress up kit. I don't see where I put it, but here I can show it to you. What it does is some people will carve up their cover and put it back on. I think it always 100% of the time looks bad, so I just leave it off. But so what we have here is, I'll point to these pieces, is a dress up kit. This is black stainless steel hardware to replace the handlebar bolts so that when you see them, you don't see rusty, ugly metal. And with some nylon acorn nuts to cover up the tie rod bolts that you see right there. They're normally, all this is covered by a decorative plastic cover. But when you move the handlebars, the cover doesn't fit anymore. So we just throw the cover away. So we have a little dress up kit. That's something that's $20. We have a radar detector / accessory mounts. So, and we have two variants of this. One, if your handlebars are in the stock location, it'll be flat. This is for radar detector or other similar accessory. But if your handlebars are pulled back, we have a bend in the plate so that it still remains level for a radar detector. This same plate, you can see it. Here's an example. I've mounted a ram ball to the plate, so you could put any kind of accessory on it. So this plate can be used for anything. So we have them left and right. If you have a 6-speed, we have a left side variant. If you're on a DCT, you'll only have the right side variant. And let's see. So that's our radar detector mounts. I think those are about $25 each-ish. They come with black stainless steel hardware. Not a must-have. This is a kit. There are some people that like to have an aftermarket GPS, and they tend to mount it right here in the front of the windshield. We have a kit, a bracketry kit, that allows you to mount Garmin GPSs here in the windscreen. This is a complicated kit to install, not for do-it-yourselfers. You have to be a very, very comfortable mechanic doing this. That kit's like $60, and basically there's no instructions with it other than my videos and my pointers. So it's one of these, if it's not obvious how to use it, we don't want you tearing your bike that far apart. This is a mirror stop kit. This is something you will only want or need if you have your handlebars in the stock locations. Now, the problem is, people found out right away when they had the new Goldwing that if your mirrors were folded in and you went to move your motorcycle, your front brake lever would come up, touch the mirror, lock the front brake, and you would just fall right over in the driveway. And either, if you were moving, you'd crash, and if you were just walking, you would just tip over and fall all the way over into the ground. So this mirror stop is a simple machined Delrin post that fits in here on your mirror. And when you fold your mirror, it stops the mirror from fully closing, so that when the lever comes forward, it won't contact the mirror and you won't crash in your driveway. Now, Americans don't really see this. This isn't such a problem, but lots of people around the world have their bike jammed in a small space in the garage, or they have limited space, or they're in an apartment complex. They fold their mirrors every time they get off the bike. So for people that do that, all you have to do is one time forget and back up, and bang, you're going to fall right on the ground. So this prevents that from happening. If you ever wanted to align your steering or check for slop, we sell steering lock pins. This is a very precision machined pin that slides in through these two bores, one in the fork and one on the steering head, locks the front wheel. That lets you check and measure your steering slop by yourself if you wanted to. You can see our bike is 0. There's a second place, if the console's up, that you drop the pin through the steering bridge and into the frame of the motorcycle, and that tells you that you're 100% lined up. If you're not 100% lined up, then you would adjust a tie rod. Now, our tie rod is not adjustable, but we've got it set to the exact perfect length that will be 100% aligned every time. These pins are $10, I think, each, and you need 2 if you want to fully check your bike. We don't make this product, but we are the U.S. distributor for it. This is a set of short brake levers by a company called ATL Bike, and so they're shorties. Some people like sporty short levers. So we sell it in a right side only if you have a DCT, or we sell a pair if you're on a 6-speed. It comes with all the hardware required. You'll use the base piece of your factory lever and then marry it to their components, and they give you the black knobs and everything in it to make it look all nice. That same company, ATL Bike, makes a power folding mirror kit. This is not a big thing with Americans because we're not allowed to lane split, but to people elsewhere in the world, it's a big deal. So you run these mirrors with your turn signal button. 2 pushes of the turn signal button will, where am I doing here? My battery's dying on my bike. So but yeah, two pushes and the mirrors will cycle. And and then it's set, let's see, my bike's dying. So, so anyway, I haven't run my bike in a long time, but, so anyway, power folding mirrors. You just activate it with the turn signal button, turn signal cancellation. You double tap it and they'll pull in while you're driving, and you double tap it and they'll pull out. So if you're lane splitting or moving through or lane filtering, which some states are starting to now allow lane filtering, then it makes it convenient to pull your mirrors in. Again, Americans aren't that big into this. Everywhere else in the world, it's a thing to be able to get your mirrors in. If you have an early Gold Strike cell phone mount, we sell a cell phone lift kit. Basically, the cell phone lift would block the controls. So if you have one of the earlier styled Gold Strike mounts, your phone holder will be blocking your console. You can't really see it. So we made this lift kit, which lifts the camera up. It gets a better view for pictures and exposes your controls so you can see them with your eyes. That's like a $20 accessory. Let's see what else we got here. That's the cell phone lift kit. If you use the Honda line backrest, not Utopia, only Honda line. So if you use the Honda line backrest, we sell a block that's called the Backrest Comfort Block. It moves the backrest forward and down, fits into the lower of your back much better than the way it comes from Honda. And this is again, I think a $20 accessory that people love it. It's like one of the biggest comfort changes that they can experience on the bike. The stock backrest has, even if you run it forward, you're still set pretty far back, and you have to slump your back to get into it. The handlebars are way out there, so if you have your handlebars set back and a backrest, this allows you to become extremely more comfortable than the way Honda put it. We have a little. This is just a little hardware upgrade kit. If you have the Honda line trunk organizer in your bike, it comes with this stupid set of plastic push pins that hold it on. They're always falling out and falling off, and then the thing flops around and falls in your trunk. This is a set of stainless steel screws, black stainless steel screws, and well nuts. So you replace the floppy plastic rivets with a well nut on each of the mounting tabs, and then a nice machine screw, so that this thing is secured onto the bike forever. I think that's less than $20, $15 maybe for that kit. If you have a magnetic tank bag, we sell a plate kit to allow you to put a magnetic tank bag on your bike. So these plates will give you steel mounting locations. 2 of these are curved to go on this area, anywhere you need them to go on this curved area of your shelter. And then there's 4 flat plates that'll allow you to hit the flat areas depending on where the tabs are on your tank bag. So that's what that's for. If you have a packet rack or any kind of a trunk on your bike that hides your license plate, this is just a steel plate for you to rivet to whatever your trunk or your packet rack or whatever it is. And then I've shown a cool way where you can take Get the best high resolution photo of your license plate you can and scale the photo to size. You can go to Kinko's and they have a plastic, a nylon paper that you can print your license plate out in full color on, cut it out real nice, put 3M adhesive, spray adhesive on the back of it, stick it to this, and it will look absolutely, completely original if you're worried about the police stopping you for not being able to see your license plate. So again, like the packet rack has a canvas bag. There's no good place to mount. So that's why this steel plate is helpful to do that. Of course, you probably already know about our wildly popular engine case guard. We are the only product on the market that will actually protect your engine from road impacts. The rest are kind of decorative nick and chip belly pans. This is specifically not a belly pan. This is an engine case guard. I have a 4-part shootout. If you type engine guard belly pan shootout on YouTube, you can see a comprehensive test between 5 different brands of engine case guards where I compare the specifications, pricing, materials, fit, feel, and then I do destructive testing on all of them. And as the testing reveals, there's only one product that will actually protect your engine, and it's this one. And you'll be able to see the test, and for yourself, you'll see it's quite fair and unbiased, even though I was testing my own product in it. We sell that in 2 variants. Most people buy what we call the standard one. There's one that's 2 inches wider. This is for people that frequently travel on gravel roads, go semi-off-road, or we call it the Alcan for like people who actually ride on the Alcan Highway to Alaska. So this is 2 inches wider, and it's designed to give actually protection for your exhaust pipes from them getting beat up and hammered up. Not necessary for 90% of the people in the world. Our tip-over protection kit. By the way, that I consider a must-have. Most people do at this point. We've seen dozens at this point of broken open engines that are destroyed by road debris. And it's a $13,000 repair, and you'll be without your bike for 6 months. And when you get it back, you won't want it. I wouldn't want my bike torn all the way down with the crankshaft laying on a workbench. It's just not something you want. Our tip-over protection kit. People were asking for big cages that like they used to be on the old Goldwing. I always thought they looked like crap. Honda did too, obviously, because they didn't put them on this bike. The limited tip-over protection Honda has on this new bike is only useful, and again, you can watch videos of this. I've tested in the product development of my products. If you are present with your bike and you can do anything at all to slow it down while it's falling, anything, even if it's falling away from you, and you just slow it down, the Honda protection will stop the bike and it'll be fine. But if you aren't there and the bike tips over, it'll roll past the Honda tip-over protection and it'll fall onto the saddlebag. It'll smash the mirror up, flatten it, and tear the mirror up and crush the saddlebag lid. It'll likely damage the handlebar end, the tip of the lever, and these plastic covers here. Now, my kit I designed is designed to repair the expensive parts to replace. So the mirror covers and the saddlebag cover. This is like a $700 cover. The mirror parts are about $250. And so my kit is designed to save those parts. This handlebar end is $10. These are $15 or $20. I don't care about those. That's not expensive and it's cheap to replace. So my job was to protect these parts and not make it look like shit. So my goal is to have this look like Honda put it there. So when you look at this motorcycle from the front, you have no idea that Honda didn't put those parts there. We take great pride in that level of effort and design. This is a proprietary material that we found. It took special injection molds, but you can tip your bike over. I've done it. We've gotten dozens of reports back from all over the world. Everybody's done it. But you can see my videos where I drop this motorcycle twice on each side. We pick it up, take my hand, rub the plastic off, and take your shirt, and it'll just like that. This bike has actually fallen on all of these parts here. So now, which brings us to a tool I sell. If you do drop your bike and it hits the ground, it is going to bend the internal fairing bracket here slightly, and your mirror won't line up smooth anymore and nice. Same thing, the engine case guard, when the engine falls on it, it's going to bend the engine case guard up. there is a steel bar under here. It's going to bend it up slightly, and all these plastic pieces won't fit properly anymore. So I sell some tools to help you fix that, because this fairing bracket is about $400, and it's probably, I think, 12 hours, so close to $1,800 labor to change out the fairing bracket. But with this simple tool, you remove your mirror, bolt this where the mirror goes, put a 3/8 long extension in it, and you can bend the fairing bracket back into the location where the mirror lines up perfectly. So a very inexpensive tool. This is one that goes into the clamps. You slip it over the bar and put a long half-inch extension in it, and you can pull the bar back down to where it gets back into position to where your plastic will line up again. I think this is called a tip-over correction kit, and I think it's around $100 for these tools to fix your bike. That'll save you. I think that each of those engine guards are a couple $100, and it's in an hour's time to replace them. So it's an easy way to correct it. Works left or right if you should happen to fall on either side of the bike. Over time, there are some people who are fanatics. They complain about their bike pulling to the right, and not just the crown in the road, but there is something in the nature of a lot of these wings that they will want to pull to the right slightly. So this is a counterweight. It's a giant chunk of steel that we hide in between that bolts up to the framework on top of the muffler and underneath the saddlebag. And with this, it's called the Traxxion counterweight. That counterweight on your bike, the bike will go absolutely straight down the road with just one pinky on the handlebar. No problem. These are suspension mode decoupling plugs. These are basically blind covers. The stock suspension is soft and boingy, and it's like riding a john boat on a lake. It's so obviously our main product we sell here is upgraded shock absorbers that make the bike completely transform it. And but Honda did something spectacularly stupid with the stock shocks. They have a tiny amount of damping adjustment through a little electronic servo motor. And all it's doing is if you had a clicker on a regular shock, it's like changing a clicker on the shock. The problem is they attach that adjustment to the engine mode on the motorcycle. So when you're selecting touring, sport, eco, or rain, you're also changing the suspension function, they say. The only time it makes any noticeable, measurable change at all that any human being can feel is in the sport mode. But at that point, the sport mode of the bike is so much more power delivery, and the throttle response is so incredibly jerky and violent that it overwhelms that suspension anyway. But, so what we do is you put the bike into sport mode, turn it off, and then you disconnect the electronic shock couplers. There's one at each shock. Put these these are Honda's waterproof dust caps on top of each of the sides, and just zip tie the cables out of the way. And then the shocks will be in their firmest position that you can get them in. They'll still suck, but it's as good as you can get it for $40. So this is a simple little kit for $40 that lets you, so then it'll just be as firm as it can be with stock shocks on it. There's another kit. Everybody knows right away, if you put your cell phone in your glove box and ride with it, your cell phone will overheat and shut down. So this is a glove box cooling kit. Not simple to install. You actually do have to get the shelter of everything off of the bike and the tower off of the glove box off of the bike. But this is a set of heat shields, and I've got videos on how to install this. They protect that box and then make it so your cell phone won't overheat. Electrical Connection sells a small accessory fan that plugs into the USB port and splits it, and you bore a hole in the glove box, put that little fan there, use our kit, and that combination together, you can put your phone in there and ride through the desert and it will not overheat. There is another little product. This one, again, not a must-have, but people found out right away that this side door here is prone to failure. it's got an electric button, a micro switch that goes up to a servo motor with a servo motor that actuates a cable that comes down and pulls a latch on the door to open the door. Instead of just having a stupid latch on the door, you push the button and the door opens. See right here, mine doesn't want. Oh yeah, because my bike's been altered. So anyway, that fails. What's important is your fuel button is underneath there. So when this fails, and the reason you're going in that compartment is to push the fuel button. Now you're sitting at a gas station, your bike's out of gas, and you can't get to the button. So early on, we showed you could drill a 1/2-inch hole in this, put a rubber plug in it, which we'll mail you for free if you want one. And then you can pop that plug out and poke it with a pin or anything you have around to open your fuel door. This door won't open, but at least you'll be able to put gas in your bike and get home. I came up with a kit to just eliminate all of that. So we call this the recabulation kit. So we recable the bike. And basically now on each side of the bike, I have a little tiny discrete cable here. And I pull on that, it'll either open my, I messed this up. It'll open the side door. So it's mechanical now, it can't fail. It's just a cable pulling right on the lever. And then on the other side, I have one for the glove box, to open the glove box. These glove box latch are extremely fidgety. People have trouble with them, sticking and not opening. They're very fidgety. People are concerned about somebody just being able to walk up to their bike while they're in a restaurant or store, open the glove box and take whatever's in there. So this is quite discreet. So, and plus this is something you can reach. It works great. Again, just a cable, no electronics, no way for it to fail. It'll just work. So that's the recabulation kit. And I think that's everything on my list. Oh, for 6-speed owners, this is an absolutely beloved product we sell. This is our heel toe shifter. This took some of the most work and development I've ever put into any product, but it's completely, totally ergonomically different than the factory shifter. It allows a guy, even with a bigger or larger foot, to get his foot in out of the wind and in closer to the bike. With your foot laying naturally on it, it works easily. It does have a heel function. So again, your foot can be you're just riding, but if you want the heel shifter, you can use it, bang. If you don't like heel shifters, that piece is a separate piece that comes off. It's sold only as a kit, but if you don't want the heel portion, you don't have to have it. But people love that with 6 speeds, love that thing. It's a big change in the ergonomics and the way the bike functions. And one last one I forgot. Passenger grab rail kit. So right off the bat, everyone noticed that the factory grab handles are completely useless on a Honda Goldwing. They were spectacularly bad from 18 to 20, and then 21 or maybe 20, they changed them. They made them this much better. They still suck. They're totally useless. So people went out and actually even paid $200 or $300 for the Honda ones, and to put them on their 18 and 19 bikes, which was just plain stupid. But anyway, the problem is your passenger, these things are useless. They're small. You can't reach them. So to grab them, that you basically can almost barely get them with your hands. Now, unless you're skinny and not wearing any gear, I'm not even wearing a jacket or anything, you naturally want your hands outside of the trunk. So if your wife's heavier or your passenger's heavier, there's no way they're going to fit here with our riding gear on and be able to put their arms in here and then hold these little teeny handles you can barely get a hold of. Plus they're forward, so they do nothing to help the passenger stay off of the driver. So we developed these passenger grab rails so your passenger can sit naturally on the bike, hold the rail, and this is actually functional leverage to keep you off of the driver. So you can ride through the twisties, whatever you want to do, hold these rails, and you're going to be comfortable, feel safe, and you won't be piling into the driver all the time. They're also very helpful for mounting and dismounting. Underneath, there's set up with holes, so you can take bungee cords if you're riding solo, and you can strap gear down to them. We have these in for tour. in this setup for both this and the newer model with the larger trunk. It's a little bit longer bar and a little bit further out just because the trunk's wider. And then we also sell it with a short riser for baggers. So for baggers for your passenger, it just puts it in real close and low, real easy to get a hold of for your passenger. This also is very helpful for putting your bike on and off of the center stand. So it's just a really nice handle to have a hold of. Can you see where I'm? It's just a very nice, simple place to help lift your bike. Oh, and then that brings me to one last kit, talking about passenger comfort. We have a trunk relocation kit. So this moves, this is derived from our trunk quick removal kit. So with one base kit, you can quickly put your trunk on and off the bike in 15 minutes and convert it to a bagger if you want. But one of the other features we have is we're able to set the trunk back 1.5 inches. We sell a custom upholstered insert that fills the gap in the seat. And that 1.5 inches to your passenger is a mile. Women rave about that space. This is particularly important if you have a backrest on your bike, because there already isn't much space on the new bike between the passenger and the driver. So if you put a backrest in her crotch, she's going to be extremely uncomfortable and not happy about the whole situation. Backing this trunk up 1.5 inches, that makes a lot of space, more space than it sounds like, and changes your passenger's world. So that kit is about $400-ish, and it's a pretty big job to install. We charge 4 hours of labor here, but you could do it yourself, but it'll take you probably the better part of a weekend. So that's our trunk relocation and quick removal. So again, you can go from bagger back and forth. If you've got a bagger and you want to put an aftermarket trunk on it, the Honda line cross brace in their kit is not strong enough to support any accessory other than the little luggage rack and strap a purse to it. You put a trunk on it and go riding, the weight will crack the Honda line bracket, your trunk will fall off your bike onto the highway, and you may not even notice it's gone until you get where you're going. So we make, using our quick removal kit, we've got a solid billet aluminum brace. It's real low volume selling item, but you can mount any heavy aftermarket trunk you want that you might want on your bike, and that's about a $600 kit for that, to do that. And I think and then of course I said our front and rear shocks. That's everything. It's everything we have for our bike from Traxxion Dynamics, for your bike from Traxxion Dynamics. So all in one video. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, share, and go to www.traxxion.com to check out these products and order up, please. Thanks.